Yeah! Hello, Internet, and welcome to the free-to-play cast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man, in my Hawaiian shirt, because I'm coming to you live from Hawaii. No, I wish I was. I wish I was. That'd be pretty sweet. But the weather in Pittsburgh isn't that bad lately. Joining me as he always does, how are you, sir? Mr. Jason Winter.
Well, I don't quite have Hawaii weather, but it is like 90-something degrees here in Dallas, so.
I guess that's close enough. I guess temperature-wise, that's close enough.
Closer than you?
Pittsburgh's at that stupid end of May, early June phase where, you know, it's 40 degrees one day and then 70 the next day and then raining the next day.
I would take that over 90 every day.
That's true. That's true. But it's not the heat. It's the humidity. It's always the humidity, never the heat. Never the heat. But speaking of heat, that's a terrible segue. Let's start the news.
Hot news.
Hot news. All right, we've got some reviews for you this week. One from myself and one from Jason, and we're going to kind of question each other about it, each of their games. I'll go first, and we'll start with Games of Glory. Games of Glory. Now, this game is it's kind of a mashup, and I'm going to be showing you guys footage here so that you can see what the game is like. The first look itself, whoops, wrong footage. Let me reverse those. Armored Warfare needs to go second. Let's go ahead and play.
We could just change. We could just do the Armored Warfare first.
Right? Right. No, I don't know what the hell is going on. Oh, no, I don't want preview editor. No. Damn it. There we go.
Why, you take a week off, you just forget how to do everything.
I know, right? It wasn't. It's like, yes. Yeah, Jason covered for me last week because I got software launches out the wazoo. So thank you, Jason. All right, so Games of Glory. It launched on Steam, and it's kind of a mashup by Lightbulb Crew of MOBA pieces and shooter pieces and kind of like ARPG pieces. And I'm going to be honest, Jason, when I first, you know, you do this too, I'm sure you do. You get those previews, right? And being in the business that we're in, we normally get access to things a little earlier than most people, so that we can have things ready for when they go live. So Games of Glory had all kinds of data they wanted out there on launch day, but the week before is when I'm getting to take a look at it so I can write up initial thoughts. I'm going to put up an official first look video probably Friday of this week, so the footage you're watching is actually from my preview event, but the game is exactly the same. Sometimes we look forward to those, right? What's the best preview you ever went to? Like, best sneak peek?
You mean just not went to, but just like had a...
Yeah, like you went to in person or early press access. What's one that was your favorite? I really liked Wild Stars.
I don't know if it's necessarily that it was that great of an event, but I remember just getting into Rift early, getting into the beta for that.
Yeah, that's
beta.
pretty cool.
And I thought that was a lot of fun. Just because they had talked about it for so long. Oh, dynamic events could be going all over the place and doing all this stuff, and it really kind of did that for me, at least in the beta.
And then it launched, and Jason quickly cast it aside.
No, I played it for like 6 months after it came out.
I remember. Weren't you on, what was that called? Sanctum.
I did.
Did you do an episode or two of that? That was long before. That was long before I did anything for Game Breaker. That was during my I want to do what these guys do phase.
And now you do it. Isn't it wonderful?
I know, right? Yeah. But yeah, you were on Sanctum, which was Game Breaker's Rift show. Mm-hmm. So I liked Wild Stars. That was a live event. I got to go to San Francisco and spend some time with Gaffney and team, and that was almost a year before the game came out. It was in like May, and then the following June the game released. So that was pretty cool and a nice event. As far as getting access into things early, even just sitting here at home, Neverwinter was pretty good for me. I enjoyed getting a peek at that one early. So there's some of these that we look forward to, and there's some of them that we just don't, right? And neither one of us is really terribly a MOBA guy. And so when you put MOBA anywhere near your marketing, I automatically kind of think, I'm not going to like this game. It's just not going to be for me, no matter how good it may be. League of Legends is a very, very good game. It's just not a game I get excited about playing. And so I kind of thought that Games of Glory was going to fit into that little category. So going into the preview, I wasn't all that thrilled to be there.
But it
Like,
turned out to be the greatest game you ever played.
it was the greatest. No,
right?
no. It wasn't the greatest game I've ever played, but it was fun.
Okay.
It was fun, and I did want to play more, and I have played more since the game has launched, too. So, first off, yes, they use the word MOBA in their advertising. It's because they do borrow some things from MOBAs, like the whole ability to add enhancements to your profile, and those go onto any clone, that's their name for heroes, that you control. So kind of like League of Legends Rune Page is a good way to think about it. It does borrow that whole you level up as you're playing and you level up abilities in any order you want. It does have the item meta game, so it's got aspects of MOBA. It does not have like the whole here's 3 lanes, push, push, pull back, push, push, pull back. It's not that type of gameplay. There are, I guess, kind of lanes just by the nature of the map design itself, but there's 2 primary game modes right now. One is a domination mode where it's capture points all over the map that are both target points and gold points. Target points, if you capture them, will slowly drain a shield on the far side of the board that is protecting your opponent's energy core, while gold points, when captured, will increase the rate your team gains gold. Take the shield down to 0, go beat up the core, win the match. And that comes in 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4, and 5 versus 5 flavors. On the other side, there's what they call a superstar mode. Smaller map, very quick matches. Each round lasts a minute, and whoever wins 5 rounds first wins. And this comes in 1, 2, and 3v3 type matches. So if we're playing Superstar, Jason, and you and I are on a team, it'll designate you as the superstar for the first round. Now, the point is for you and I to go kill the opposing duo's superstar, or at the end of 1 minute, be the closest superstar to the center point of the map. Whichever victory condition is met, you win the round, win 5 rounds, you win the whole thing. Next round, I'll be the superstar, and we play like that back and forth. Both very fun, actually. Very, very fun in my book. Now, graphically, it's not much to look at.
Sure.
We've seen all this stuff before. We've actually seen this style before, too. But gameplay-wise, they give you the option of whether you want WASD movement, which is what I went with, or if you want traditional shooter controls, which you can go that route as well. There are minions, but they're not used in the way that you're used to in MOBAs. You want to get the hell away from minions. You don't want to be pinned in the little room when the door's locked. So all in all, it was just fun. I mean, I was asked during the preview, well, we could talk about clans and all these other features that they do have in the game, or we could play another round. And I said, let's play another round. Yeah, I don't care about clans. I totally forgot for a minute I'm supposed to be covering this so that I can tell people about it. But I was like, I don't care about clans. But it does have a lot of social stuff at clubs and leaderboards, and the leaderboards are kind of snazzy, actually. They have like a player of the week type deal, and they give a rundown, and then they're doing a daily player too. So everybody's kind of got a chance to shine. They've already built in stuff to encourage and kind of try and discourage the typical toxic MOBA behavior with voting systems at the end of matches, and then the chance to give additional titles to each player, as like far as most helpful leader. You could pick that type of stuff, and there's rewards for that, for achieving certain ranks in there. They're putting more of that stuff in there to try and facilitate a better community. They are pushing heavy to esports. Heavy to esports. I mean, their page...
Good luck, guys.
Yeah, go straight to their page, and it's just got all kinds of DreamHack and ESL and all that stuff all over just your main menu. So they're pushing for that hard, which makes the cash shop what you would expect. You could buy new clones, you could buy skins for clones, but that's it. You're not going to be buying power in there because they want this in the esports category too badly. All in all, I would definitely play this game, and I have, which is odd for me because I'm terrible at it still. I feel like I'm getting better and better and better, so it does have a learning curve to it. It's not that steep. The item meta isn't incredibly deep. But all in all, not too bad. I got to give this one like a 7.
Wow.
Maybe even like a 7.5. I
Wow.
don't think it does anything terribly new, but what it does do, it does well. And it does it well enough to make me, a non-MOBA player, enjoy playing it. So I got to give it to Lightbulb Crew first time out of the gate. Not too shabby on this one. I want to see what they do next. Obviously, it's going to be a long way down the road because they've still got all kinds of stuff they want to add here to Games of Glory. But I'd like to see what they do next with something a little more unique because they execute well on this plan.
It's actually funny you mentioned the execution there at the end because that's what I'm seeing a lot of in when because I haven't been able to see your first play video yet or anything, so I'm just looking mostly at like Steam comments and so on. And a lot of people are saying, hey, it's got some neat things in it, it does some cool things, but it just isn't ready yet. It's not refined. One of the main things they talk about is the UI. They talk about the UI being really bad. A lot of them do.
I can go along with that.
Yeah.
The UI isn't terribly great, and you really have to have a good half dozen matches under your belt before you realize where all your little clickies are along the way. So I can agree with that, and that's kind of why I'm putting it at an average score. That whole 1 through 10,
And
7
7.5
being,
is average?
yeah, 1 through 10, 7 being an average title.
Well, if you're going with that, okay, fine. Yeah, I still try to think of like 5 as average, but whatever.
Nobody wants a 5.
Oh, exactly.
That'll screw you out of a Metacritic bonus.
Oh, yeah. It means they won't pay us for our next review, right? No.
Yeah,
But
okay. Yeah, I guess I should clarify then. Yeah, I'm using the whole Game Informer type scale of 1 through 10, where 7 is an average title that does its job well. There's certainly room for improvement, but it certainly could be a lot worse. To me, this is average, maybe slightly above. Give it that 7.5. Sure. It's still UI, definitely. What else are you seeing out there? Maybe I can address it.
Like I said, it's very early access. Character imbalance is one of the things they're talking about a lot of.
Big time.
Another thing they mentioned, you talked about like toxicity and so on. They said that there's no real way to report people, or if you have like 2 people go AFK or just drop during a match, whatever, that ruins your game or something.
Yep, yep, and it definitely does. It definitely does.
So yeah, and then a lot of other just things on sort of like you talk about, graphics not being great or not really that newfangled of an idea, but. Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like it's got some decent ideas in there. Yeah, it's not the most revolutionary kind of thing around, but they do an okay job on it. They maybe just need more time to really refine a lot of the things in there. And if it were me, if it was, I don't know, what is it, like if it's like, I don't know, maybe $20 or whatever now for early access, free later. It sounds to me like the sort of thing where I wouldn't probably pay for it now, but I'd keep an eye on it, and maybe when they get it better and can actually get it into a free actually free to play.
Yeah, and it is important to know that this is an early access review.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm giving it, maybe I'm being a little generous with the 7.5, but I also know what they're trying to do with it based on sitting there talking to them and some of the things they are going to be implementing. So maybe that's kind of skewing me a little bit. If I had to base it on what's there right now, my score would probably be lower. Not much lower, like maybe a 6, 6.5. But I'm going to give them a little bit of credit. It being early access, I see what they've done so far. I know what Lightbulb Crew is trying to do. And most of the reviews, even the mixed and not recommended reviews on Steam, they kind of go along with what I'm saying. It's catchy. It's a little bit challenging on the combat mechanics. And those core things that make you, hey, I want to try this, are there. So it's definitely worth trying. Go ahead over to Steam. If it sounds interesting to you at all, you can go ahead and install it now. And
I
then,
will
of
say,
course, they have
though,
all those
good job
download
looking at a lot of these Steam comments, the replies to them. A lot of the negative ones, the developer is there. He's responding to it and saying, hey, thanks for letting us know. We're going to work on that. So it's cool that they're interacting on that level.
It's really funny when you're playing a match against the founder of Lightbulb Crew, and there's a PR rep on the phone, of course, and all of a sudden, in the middle of a match, he's in the middle of talking about something to us as we're running around doing things, and things don't go well.
Oh,
And, all of us said, well, so we have clubs. We're going to be doing clubs. Fuck! You know? And then you hear the PR, hey, I don't think I've ever heard you say that before. And he goes, well, that's what this game does to me. So yeah. It's something that it's a nice little distraction. Check it out. I
as long
really
as the
like
owner,
this. I like the Superstar game mode personally myself.
as long as the owner isn't the guy in chat going, God dang it, you bleeping noob, why are you
Right?
even going there?
Right?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let me know if you played Games of Glory. What do you think? I understand I'm probably being a little generous at 7.5, just because I have some advanced knowledge of things that are coming. So if I got to rate it the way it is now, maybe a 6.5. But let me know what you think. Games of Glory in the comments below. Let's move on. Can we have a moment of silence, Jason? Moment of silence.
Maybe.
That we saw coming years ago.
Well, not about years, but
Oh, it was years. It was
okay,
years.
all right.
It was years. Like right when they announced it.
Well, I think
Oh,
it's
come on.
something.
You can't for a minute think that this was a good idea at any point in time.
I think it could have been a good idea. I just don't know that Turbine was the company for it.
Nah, I don't even know if I can go with the whole idea. So, Infinite Crisis, Turbine's comic MOBA, shutting down. Womp, womp, womp. Game launched, what, like 2 months ago? Officially?
Yeah.
Officially launched 2 months ago, even though it's been able to get into it forever. August 14th is going to be the official day. We all saw this coming. We had just that ex-Turbine employee, right, anonymously posting that this was, what'd they call it, a money drain or a money sink?
He said it tanked badly.
Yeah, tanked badly and had consecutive users in the less than 1,000. I got a feel for people that work for the title, obviously. You know,
Though at least we haven't heard about layoffs.
we haven't heard about layoffs yet.
Which
So
I guess it wouldn't
hopefully,
until the game's done, but whatever.
hopefully they'll all be reassigned. Obviously, I don't want to see anybody get laid off. But to me, this one was just a bad title from the word go. You gave it a chance, but here's the bigger question. We all saw this part coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a Turbine guy as far as Lord of the Rings Online. You've even dabbled in Dungeons and Dragons Online here and there. You kind of Lotro's your fallback. It's the one you personally keep coming to, right?
Yep. Just
Where does this leave Turbine as a company going forward? We've got Infinite Crisis gone. We assume Lord of the Rings Online will probably last through next year, but that license will not be renewed at the end of 2016 as far as Warner Brothers being able to use it.
2017.
2017. Yeah. That's why I said we assume it'll be here all the way through 2016.
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying. Not last till end of. Okay, I see.
Right. I assume that Lotro will be available through all of next year, but at some point in 2017, that license, I can't see it being renewed.
No.
That would leave them with Asheron's Call 1 and 2, Dungeons and Dragons Online, and 2 projects that have been delayed, unnamed, moved around all over the board, and we don't know if they're ever going to see the light of day. Batman: Arkham Underworld, which is a mobile game supposed to come out this year, and a still untitled Game of Thrones game that has been in the works for, God, I don't even remember the first time I reported on that, on Turbine picking up the Game of Thrones IP. Where the hell does this leave your company going forward?
Mobile, baby. Mobile's the future.
Oh, God, don't say that.
I'm just saying. It's what I'm seeing. I mean, because that's what both those games are, the Batman and the Game of Thrones games. I mean, what else is there?
Turbine doesn't have anything in the mobile space right now to prove that this is the way they should go.
Well, they never had anything to prove that they could make a MOBA either, and look what happened there.
It closed down.
Wait, hang on.
It closed down 2 months after the damn thing launched.
But dude, anybody can make a mobile game these days. I mean, from what I did a little bit of research on the Batman thing. The little article that I read here, it says players will build a hideout and recruit henchmen. If that sounds a bit like Clash of Clans, it's probably not an accident. So it's like,
oh jeez,
that's all you got to do. Just copy Clash of Clans or Candy Crush or whatever.
Put a Batman skin on it.
Yeah, there you go. That's all you need.
It'll sell bajillions. It'll sell. I'm honestly worried about Turbine at this point.
Well, I mean, in terms of keeping the lights on and keeping people employed there, maybe I'm not. Maybe you're not that worried. In terms of producing games that either of us give a damn about, then yeah, maybe we are worried. So
I think I'm more worried big picture.
yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
that could be
you've
too.
got to have something carrying you. Dungeons and Dragons Online isn't it.
No.
It just isn't.
Well, how long has it been since they had something then? Because DDO has been going down, Lotro has been going down, Infinite Crisis didn't do anything, so it's like,
Right, but if you have three titles that have, just a moderate player base that you would expect, that's fine. Instead of one big blockbuster that is
sure,
doing, going gangbusters, that's what you would like so that you could use the money to fund other things to try and increase that income. But here you have three moderately performing titles, one of which is closing because it wasn't making moderate money. The other one is going to come up against a licensing issue that I think is going to be cost prohibitive as far as them being able to renew it. I just can't see them getting a deal that makes sense as far as being able to renew the Lord of the Rings license. And then you've got Dungeons and Dragons Online now being the flagship for Turbine, which means your flagship is a almost decade old MMO.
mobile, baby, it's the future.
Oh, I'm honestly worried about them as a company, as a whole.
I mean, they could be if these mobile games don't come through, then yeah, I would be. But again, you and I, we will underestimate those things, and then, like you said, Kim Kardashian will have her game and make $50 million on it. So who the hell knows?
You think Warner Brothers hangs on to them?
Who'd want them?
Good question. If I was Warner Brothers and I was going to sell Turbine, who would I pitch it to? Who would I pitch it to
Nova.
first?
I don't know.
I honestly, as much as I hate to say it, I'd probably pitch. I probably wouldn't pitch it as a company. I'd piece out the IPs.
Break up, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably offer somebody like a Nexon a piece of something,
Yeah.
or maybe an NCSoft. I don't think NCSoft's in any position to really want to take on something at
Maybe
the
they
moment.
could just trade Turbine for Carbine.
Oh, oh, ouch, ouch. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, they're not in danger of closing tomorrow,
Yeah.
but it's going to be interesting the next 2 years for Turbine. And if I'm a Turbine employee, probably updating the resume. All right, last up, we got another review for you, except this one's coming at you from Jason.
Now you finally got the right video loading?
I got the right video up. Armored Warfare. Tell me about it, brother. We posted the first look on Tuesday.
All right. Well, it's tanks. I'm not gonna lie, it does feel a lot like World of Tanks in a lot of ways, just in sort of the basics of the UI and how
There goes my first question.
So there you go. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, certainly more like that than like something like War Thunder. So yeah, I mean, the control scheme is pretty much the same. They've changed a little bit how you buy tanks, so you don't go by nations. You have different dealers that can have tanks of a bunch of different nations. But otherwise, different tiers of tanks. More tiers, more bigger. You can improve your weapons on them and so on. Right now, they're a little short. They only got a few maps in the game. Only a couple of the dealers. They're gonna have a lot more supposedly. And right now, I mean, that's my general feel of it. It feels okay. It feels like World of Tanks probably did, and I was there when it first launched. So I should remember this better. But you look at how much they've added over the last 3 years or so, 3-4 years, and that's kind of where I feel like Armored Warfare could be in 3 or 4 years. Right now, of course, they're still new. They're still building up a lot of the infrastructure and so on. Don't have a whole lot of the variety out there. Only a few maps, only a few tanks. Probably a few little UI bits and different quality of life and comfort kind of things that don't quite feel right at the stage. But overall, it feels all right. It seems like it could do pretty well. And if you're into that sort of thing, if you want an alternative to World of Tanks, you could probably do okay with it.
So then let me ask this. If it's a few years off from being a World of Tanks competitor, what is it doing now that differentiates itself to give it that couple of years to become a contender? I mean, because in my book, looking at your first look, If I don't want to play World of Tanks, I'd probably go to War Thunder before I went to Armored Warfare.
Well, it depends on what kind of, like I said, the actual gameplay feels a lot more like, yeah, if you don't like to play World of Tanks at all, if you don't like how it feels or whatever, then yeah, go to War Thunder. If you kind of like it but want something, what I would say it does different is it's prettier. I think the graphics are nicer. I think the environments are really nice. I also think, and also of course, it uses modern day vehicles. If you don't want to use World War II ish kind of tanks, now again that's kind of a reskinning. It's not that much different, but it's it is in a way. It's like the WoW clone of MMOs. It's that sort of thing. It's like when a game came out, more so, longer ago, because nowadays we see it coming a little better. But there'd be games that come out that were more or less just like WoW, but a little shinier, a little different environments, whatever. And maybe you go into that and maybe you realize, yeah, sure, WoW's had 3, 4, 5 years or whatever to get its stuff together, but I want to play the new shiny thing instead. So maybe if that's your point of view, you go to Armored Warfare. It really it's going to need some time to definitely get up there, but I think it could get there if you're patient with it and if you're just tired of exactly how World of Tanks wants to do things and wants to try something a little different.
What kind of game modes do we have now, and what's coming down the pike?
Just the one so far, just the basic battle, the capture point. We have a base, you have a base. Cap it or kill everyone. As for what's coming down the road, I feel like I should know that, but I do not. I'm sure it's on their website.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't like World of Tanks, then yeah, you're probably not going to like this.
No, I'm lukewarm on World of Tanks. It's one of those that, like, if you message me on Skype and say, hey, what do you do and want to play some tanks? Yeah, sure, I'll play some tanks with you, but I'm not going to, just jump into it every day. That's not my game. But it seems so close that why try to go against a big dog like that? It's like, to me, it's like when somebody creates a brand new MOBA that is trying to compete with League of Legends, you're already too far in the hole.
Sure.
Just because that's your goal. You're going to have years of push and development and content to even get in the ballpark. And by that time, League has already had 3 years of adding additional stuff. And to me, that kind of seems like the same thing that's going on here. I'm all in favor of options, right? I'm all in favor of, I don't like this game, let me go play this game because I like tanks, but this one's not for me, but this one is. But I don't see anything yet that makes me say Armored Warfare is the one for me, even if that group of for me is smaller than the World of Tanks for me.
It's probably just going to be a personal choice of different flavors. And again, as you say, yeah, World of Tanks already has 70 million players or whatever. It's just a question of, I guess, do you want a green car or do you want a blue car? Some people are going to want the green, some are going to want the blue. Might be the same otherwise, but you're just going to like one over the other. And that's kind of how I feel it's going to be with Armored Warfare. Is that some people are just going to prefer whatever little 2% differences it has over World of Tanks that they don't like about that game that they like about this one. So.
What's your verdict on this one?
My verdict is I want there to be more. I want there to be more to it. Just like you said, I want there to be a little more in there at the moment. I've played it a little bit even after I did my review. I'm still playing it now and then. I don't like that they have right now that early access is only during limited times in the evening, so I can't just play it on a weekend afternoon. But it's something I would definitely play, try to mix in, just at least get enough of a feel for it. Because I've only gotten up to like a tier 2 tank, and I want to see what the difference is. Basically, I want to see how the end game is, so to speak. Like, how does it feel when you get later on, when you get into the battles with the bigger tanks? How much of a grind is it, for instance? And like I said, hopefully find out what kind of different game modes or other maps or whatever are they getting introduced to make the game feel a little more varied and interesting.
So your score? As it stands right now, obviously, it's still an early access type title too.
In the score of 5 is totally average, 4 below average, 6 above average. In that kind of framework.
Now we're going to score things on 2 entirely different scales. This is why we don't write reviews, gang.
On that level, I would give it a 7 right now. I think
so you're calling it an above average title?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily comparing to World of Tanks like, better than that or whatever, but it does pretty well. It doesn't have, from what I could tell, like major, huge kind of game-breaking bugs or anything that just feels awful about it. And I didn't play enough to know exactly if everything is perfectly balanced against each other or whatever, but
Where are we
it
going
feels
cash shop wise?
Cash Shop seems to be, again, kind of like World of Tanks, you know. You can buy premium time, you can buy
Because for a
different.
long time, World of Tanks made a mistake with the
They
gold
don't have
ammo
gold shells,
stuff.
as I can tell. They don't have that. That is something you can buy with your regular ammo. You can buy different kind of shells with your regular currency.
I
So,
don't know. I want to be hopeful for them, but I think you're dead on with the new shiny thing, right? If somebody doesn't play either title, why not play the newer one and have a better graphical experience, if nothing else?
sure.
But to be a contender in this particular genre, you've got to steal customers too, uh, big time. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough there just based on your first look and what we're talking about here. I don't think there's enough there to make somebody that's spent money or a lot of time in World of Tanks say, okay, it's time to change titles.
It is a World of Warcraft kind of comparison. If you just make the next World of Warcraft, what have you got other than being new and shiny?
Right. Wow, a 7. I'm actually kind of flabbergasted by that. I didn't expect it to be that high, particularly when you bump the average from 7 down to 5.
Maybe it's because
On
I've been
my
playing.
scale, that's like a 12.
Maybe it's because I've been playing a lot of World of Tanks lately, and I'm a little tired of it, so I should try something new. So that might have had a little something to do with it.
It's the jaded point of perspective.
There you go.
All right, there's your 2 reviews, gang. Let us know what you think. If you've been playing Armored Warfare, if you've been playing Games of Glory, put your scores below. And you know what? Feel free to make up your own 1 through 10 damn scale, because apparently we're going to do the same damn thing. Let's slide over to the weekly bombs. All right, now I didn't want this to take up the whole show because our last show it was a significant portion of the show, but we would definitely be remiss if we did not mention here that if you don't know by now, WildStar is officially going free to play. It's happening this fall. If I had to guess, I would probably say our anonymous Carbine employee on Reddit is correct, and I would look for an August free-to-play date, get out of the way of Final Fantasy XIV's expansion, and get this thing in August, although we still have Heart of the Swarm or Heart of Thorns. Heart of the Swarm. God, what is wrong with me? I'm so tired. For Guild Wars 2 coming, so at some point. So I probably think August. I got to give it a bomb. I said last time on the last show that if it went free to play, I would have to give it a dub bomb for a good transition. They are saying all the right things as far as the payment model. They're keeping cred. They're keeping the option to subscribe. They're putting in a loyalty system similar to the way Rift works, which means I'm gonna get a boatload of loyalty for those 11 boxes, baby. But somebody bought 22, so they'll get more than I did. Jason was quick to point that out. So it sounds like they're doing everything right. In that update, they're also going to be making some other tweaks to the leveling experience, which I think are long overdue. They've already made a ton of tweaks since launch. It's celebrating 1 year today, or yesterday, actually. Yesterday? Today? In the last couple of days, celebrating its 1 year anniversary. Oh, it's today. 1 year anniversary. So congrats there. Looking forward to free to play. We'll get a first look up. We could do one right now because I'm a subscriber until next February. Not only that, Jason, I will get extra months of signature status because I will be a subscriber through the transition.
Ooh.
Yes. So
You can look down on those free-to-play
those
peons.
free-to-play peons. So we'll get a first look up. We're going to hold on this one, though, until it actually goes free-to-play, simply because a lot of systems that they're putting in place are specific to the free-to-play model. So it would kind of be pointless to do a first look now when there's been first looks of the game out for the last year. So we wouldn't be doing anything new with our first look. So stay tuned for that one. But Dub Bomb, here we go. WildStar free to play. Jason, you're up.
All right, I want you to read what I put in the bombs first.
Okay, so Jason's Winter host de bomb. You know what? I'm gonna one up you here.
Okay.
I'm going to
Oh, you're gonna put it on
I'm
the.
gonna put it on my screen here.
Okay.
Let's see what your the bomb says here. To bomb to something that will blow Mike's mind.
Mm-hmm. Because
What?
my bomb.
Now, wait. It's not your original bomb that we were talking about yesterday, right?
No, no,
It's not
no,
Steam's
no,
refund policy, which
no,
is
it's not that.
amazing.
No. Well, let's give a minor bomb to that. But no, I'm going to give a bomb to a game that I've only just heard of and know practically nothing about, and I'm really psyched for.
What?
Yeah.
You don't get
Crossout.
psyched for anything even after you've played it.
I know, but I used to play Car Wars when I was in the 80s when I was a kid with my little cardboard counters, making up all sorts of different vehicles to smash into each other. So I am really looking forward to Crossout from Gaijin. I really want to see what they do with that. They're claiming all the kind of stuff like customizable vehicles, freedom of creativity and thousands of possible combinations, advanced damage model. It sounds just outstanding. I can't wait to see what it's like. Which is good for now, because I'll probably hate it in the future because it'll suck.
Probably. I wrote up the initial announcement. I really think that's all the news we've gotten on this
It is.
one so
I checked
far,
the
is
website.
the initial announcement.
There's still nothing there but a few screenshots.
So to me, it kind of seemed like a what the hell? Like a Twisted Metal.
No, I don't think I would not compare it to Twisted
with
Metal.
a ton of customization.
That's the thing. Twisted Metal was just you have your car.
Right.
Yeah, there's no customization. This is more like almost like Space Engineers, almost in a way. Maybe a little more like that. And like I said, I'm hoping more of even like a BattleTech. Some BattleTech games, I think, it lets you add a lot of different stuff you put on your car. So
wow, I'm like, that does blow my mind.
Yeah.
You haven't seen a screenshot, or
I've seen screenshots.
Well, only the ones they've released.
Well, yeah.
You haven't seen anything. Wow, Jason's on the
I'm
hype
psyched.
train. He's on the hype train.
Choo-choo. Yeah.
All right, from the viewers on YouTube and mmobomb.com, we've got lots of duh bombs and a bombs in the form of and thoughts all over the place
Like
based
half
on
hour.
last.
You're not getting your nap anytime soon.
Yep. Rogark says, Wildstar, wow. I tried the 10-day free trial. Really like it. The whole comic approach is awesome. Voiceovers for leveling up are the best. I frantically leveled up just to hear what was going to be said next, and LMAO. For what little I did play, I'm not sure a free-to-play model is best. Clearly a comment made before the official announcement. I agree that this is a higher caliber game. A buy-to-play model would definitely draw me back in. Well, then free-to-play should draw you in, too, at this point. If I actually knew anyone else that played MMOs, I would consider a subscription. But I have to play alone and hope to meet decent people in games. Well,
Which is why games don't have subs anymore.
It's hard to meet all 8 of us. Yeah, FML. I hope to return to WildStar in the next few months. Money issues. Really hope the player base grows. It will now. While being a vet of Vanilla WoW and bailing after 4 years, I really enjoyed the cartoonish look of WildStar. I felt the whole look, feel, dialogue, cinematic for the first instance, all of it. It played well together, took away from the grind, which they're still working on taking more away from that. I tend to follow the genre of a game when it comes to character creation, layout, and naming. WildStar allowed me to take an Archer, Venture Brothers approach, and was again very enjoyable. If you and your wife are having fun, enjoy it and forget what the others say. I don't mind being a closet WildStar fan. Would love to hear how you lost the weight. Yes.
That's kind of a non sequitur, but okay.
Yeah. So you got, I think you're in the same boat, too. You lost a ton of weight at one point back on Game Breaker.
Yeah, a little bit, about 20, 25 pounds.
Yeah, so for anybody who's been following MMO Bomb for a long time, from the previous time I was at MMO Bomb to this time, I've lost a total of 51 pounds in the last year. And it is 100% due to cutting out ridiculous, copious amounts of Mountain Dew and replacing it with water, and working out with a trainer and at a gym. That's the way you do it. So it's done the right way. Took a year to do, but thank you.
More exercise, fewer calories. That's what it was.
Indeed.
That's what I did too.
All right, you're up, sir.
All right, you've got like a 25 paragraph thing, and I've got this from Spammy. Good job, Zach, and those logo reviews get my dub on. Bring it on, Jason.
Have you seen how many bombs are here?
Well, I'm done. You can move on now. Next.
Logo reviews. That's not the last time somebody comments on those either. That was one of those ideas just said out loud, and then it was like, wait a minute. Do we have something here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Belladonna says, I played a tiny bit of Blade and Soul. We asked you about Blade and Soul hype last show on the Chinese server a year or two back with very minimal English patch. I had fun with it, but even with the patch, the language barrier was an issue. I'll revisit it when it comes out here for sure. Go ahead, sir.
All right, Bro Z says, I understand that the hype for Blade and Soul has died down, but I can't be the only one excited for its release. Blade and Soul, despite its long absence in the West, has quite the loyal cult following. Without it, NCSoft wouldn't have announced its upcoming release in the first place. Maybe there are a lot of people in denial since they spent so much time on their particular MMO that they can't be bothered to give it another chance. Though I'm pretty sure the same skeptics will end up downloading the game anyway, being free to play just to check it out. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely download it and check it out because it's free to play. I can't say that I've seen a whole lot there that makes me go, oh yeah, this is the game I have to play. So, yeah, I don't know.
Lawler's WTF says the failure of WildStar and the threat of Black Desert have finally pushed NCSoft to give players what they want. It only took 7 years. I'll play it, but I'm not supporting this game because of those reasons. Gonna wait on Black Desert Online and throw my money at them instead. Ooh, shots fired.
All right. TLC Bonaparte says, for me, the hype for Blade and Soul died down, then came back. It's a booma hype. Oh, that's a great. That is great, actually. I like that. The hype goes down, hype goes up. Booma hype. All right. I probably won't be excited for Blade and Soul if there are any other big MMO releases, but there aren't any. Right now, we are in some sort of dry spell. Echo of Souls turned out to be really generic, and nothing really big is coming our way. So in a way, I think Blade and Soul's timing is good. It would be better if they did it sooner, but this, I think, is the second best thing.
I can't argue with the timing.
Yeah.
Winter, so that'll put it anywhere from December through February-ish, and TLC's right. There's nothing huge on the horizon, at least right now, in that window. What's that?
Not even like an expansion I can think of.
Well, I mean, if the Guild Wars 2 expansion really wants to back things up.
It's not going that far.
I don't think so, but...
We'll burn down the servers before that happens.
Half Dark Shadow wrote a ton of great information on YouTube. Go and check it out. I pulled a piece of it out of here to kind of get the basic idea on the whole Blade and Soul hype thing. So this is a partial reply. It's just too long to read it all. But basically, Half Dark Shadow sums it up as too little too late for Blade and Soul. It's also kind of in the same situation with Phantasy Star Online 2. Even though there is a plan for the release in the West, I probably won't even touch that either, since myself and many others just play on the original Japanese server. And with how well the Tweaker program works, excuse me, for the game as a community translation, which is now at the point you just need to press a button to patch it without messing around with any files anymore. I just don't see the incentive to switch to the Western release anymore. Even with my current studies in Japanese and Portuguese, I'm at a level where for me it's not even necessary to enable the English patch anymore. So a little too late, and of course threw Phantasy Star Online 2 in there.
Maybe Phantasy Star Online 2 can have some booma hype.
Half Dark Shadow, you got a +1 from Jason for jabbing me about Phantasy Star Online 2. Do need to add a note too. Lots of people liked that Zach was on last show that we did. Zach Sharps from Free to Play Weekly. Zach, we've been trying to get the schedule to work and get Zach on much earlier since you've been part of the MMO Bomb team for a while. And yes, Zach will be back. Zach was awesome. Question of the week last week: should an MMO Reddit ban topics like free to play or buy to play conversions simply because they have a tendency to lead to excessive trolling? Niabari says, Jason, please bring us logo or no-go.
Logo or no-go.
As a new weekly post. As for the question of the week, Reddit mods shouldn't be playing nanny with pay-to-win topics. There's an up-down vote system in place on purpose. If the community doesn't want to talk about it, they'll use the down vote posts. If that community wants to be toxic, well, they can be, but the rest of us down-to-earth folks will simply avoid that game.
Which is not the greatest solution. We'll just not play the game then. Or really more, just not visit your Reddit. So, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Bratwurst says the amazing being that is Bratwurst is here. Yeah, Bratwurst. To answer your weekly question, it's a bit conflicting as there are ups to banning topics such as those, but there are also downs. Reddit has always been a website where people could discuss topics freely. Some people use it to vent their frustrations towards something, mostly video games. A lot of other things too, but troll comments will never stop no matter how hard we all try. They have been a part of the internet for such a long time that it has been a social norm in the world that is the internet. Should topics be banned? Absolutely not. It's against the rules to do that so in Reddit, mod or not, he says in caps. P.S. I think Carbine might get bought out in the future, or as we said, they'll be traded for Turbine, so there you go.
Ugh.
Turbine and a draft pick to be named later.
Draft pick. Tepic says, moderators on Reddit shouldn't have any involvement in banning discussion of things that are on topic. The whole point of Reddit is open discussion. There are already people paid to post to forums to promote games, and there's an increasing feeling that Reddit moderators may have some kind of conflict of interest when they show such a lack of impartiality. On official forums, it's essentially up to the company. If they moderate too heavily, people will post elsewhere. Ironically, normally Reddit.
Yeah, that's a good point that he raises, though, about how a lot of the mods are at least somewhat chummy with the actual developers, and that's sort of,
Yeah, but you're going to have that anywhere. I mean, you see the number of times you and I get accused of getting checks from Turbine for saying that this game wasn't absolutely abysmal. For God's sake, I gave Echo of Soul a 4. On my scale, where 7 is average, an average playable title, I gave it a 4 and got accused of getting a check.
The difference is that Area Games is going to come to you and say, well, Mike, we don't think that was a very good review. You should probably change it.
True.
So, whereas, moderator on Reddit.
Oh, that doesesn't stop them from asking.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'll give you some behind-the-scenes scoop here, viewers. It doesn't stop them from asking. I'm not specifically saying Area Games, but I've been approached by companies that didn't like something that I wrote and asked me to alter it or change it in some way. The answer is no. Sorry. The only time I've actually changed something, I left the original article the way it is and then put an update at the bottom that something I pointed out or based an opinion on was wrong. And when I was shown that it was wrong or here's what you were looking for and didn't think was there, I add an update. But I still leave the original article the way it is. That's why that is it pay to win or not video is still on YouTube, even though I would love to just tear it down because it's probably the biggest recording mistake I've ever made. Go ahead, take the last one, and then I have a thing to say about the Reddit stuff.
Okay. /Coon says about the Archage Reddit thing, their reasoning was that the last month the same questions have been asked over and over again, and that no one is using the search function. I personally think this is too much. Let them be asked just to be shut down hard because no one cares to answer it anymore.
There we go. So on the whole Reddit thing, this kind of started last week when we talked about WildStar banning free-to-play discussion. And then Archage banning pay-to-win discussions as well. I did want to call out that the WildStar moderation team did reach out to me. They read and watched our WildStar Reddit and WildStar game speculation and coverage on the last show and some of the articles we posted. And so Rarl, one of the new moderators over there, excuse me,
because they had a sudden opening in moderating.
Reached out to me and said, "Hey, loved the coverage, very entertaining, good analysis stuff." And I wanted to point out that a lot of stuff has changed, both on the Reddit, the subreddit itself, and obviously in the game. And they wanted to kind of encourage a media-friendly policy and opened up and said, hey, if you want to talk about events in the game or on the subreddit or anything like that, let's sit down and chat. So look for that to come soon. I'm going to sit down and chat with them. And just with it going free-to-play, the more information that I can get you guys, the better. So kudos to them for reaching out, and thank you so much. It is well appreciated. We'll be in touch soon. Question of the week this week. Now that it's officially going free-to-play, are you coming back to the Nexus in WildStar? Jason, is your answer still no?
No, I'll definitely check it out.
You'll definitely check it out? All right.
Absolutely get in.
All right. You guys know I'm going to check it out. I have subscriber status until I'm 40.
You're like a 3% stakeholder in Carb at this point.
Send my Carbine gift certificate. All right, Jason, until next week, where can everybody find you?
They won't find me at WildStar. Not yet.
Not yet.
But they can find me on Twitter at WinterInformal. They can find me streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter. I think I've been doing this a couple times. I've been doing like a regular Lotro stream Sunday afternoons. So look for that.
Logo or no-go?
Lotro, not logo.
Logo. Lotro. Or
Lotro.
notro.
Not a logo. What's a logo screen?
Lotro or notro?
Screen.
I'm Mike Bird, aka Magic Man. You can find me, obviously, at mmobomb.com, writing things, posting videos, having some fun behind the scenes with Mr. Winter. You can find me on Twitter at magicman1, MAGICKMANN1. Me and my Hawaiian shirt hang out on Twitter, so come and have some fun. Until next time, gang, stay safe, and we'll see you out on the servers.